5 years ago, in Cairo, Egypt. It was one of the bad guys' earlier heists. They made their way into the building as Miss Tarantula began hacking the systems and gave the others insights as Mr. Shark disguised himself as a security guard, while Mr. Snake and Piranha made their way in through the aquarium. The big bad wolf made his way in through the air, and they were reunited inside the building. Mr. Wolf jumped scared the high-profile man present there as he pressed a button, which revealed a luxurious car. Quickly they stole the car and made their way out of the building. They got chased by the cops, but Mr. Wolf was an expert driver as he glided through them, and they were successful in evading the cops. Fast forward to the present, Mr. Wolf was now driving a worn-out vehicle. It turns out the bad guys decided to change their ways as they helped the cops capture criminals and turn themselves in. After serving their time, they were set free but had issues adapting as Mr. Wolf went to get a job in the bank, but it turns out he had robbed that very bank 3 times. The others also had issues getting a job because of their past records. They were all denied jobs as Mr. Wolf got to the bunker depressed and met with the others as they all told him they weren't successful in landing a job too. Mr. Wolf thought about what to do to make people accept them. That's when Mr. Shark proposed the idea of catching the Phantom Bandits. Mr. Wolf didn't know who they were as they switched on the TV. It turns out another crime group has emerged as they looted museums and made away with so many artifacts. Their crime was similar to that of the bad guys, which made the police commissioner more suspicious of them. Just then, Mr. Snake arrived. It turns out he didn't have a bad day like the others as he spends most of his time working on his body. Mr. Wolf was sparring with the governor as he shared his problems with her. The sparring session got very intense as he passed out and got a black eye. They were about flirting with each other when the governor assistant barged in, informing her of the programs she has to attend, but before she leaves, she told Mr. Wolf to do something that would make the society more accepting of them. Mr. Wolf was about to leave when he saw the news, and an idea came to mind. At the police station, the commissioner was told she had a visitor as she got into her office and was shocked to see the big bad wolf. Mr. Wolf told her that he could help capture the Phantom Bandit, but he couldn't solve the puzzle alone, so he invited the rest of his squad except Mr. Snake, who was not reachable at the time, and they began solving the puzzle. During the process, Mr. Wolf found the connection between the items stolen as the artifacts stolen all had something in common. They were all made from the same metal called the macguffin. So with this information, they could figure out the artifact the Phantom Bandits was going to hit next and capture them. The bad guys were in their car, as Miss Tarantula figured the next artifact was the Lord of Lucha title. They were still on it when Mr. Wolf figured Mr. Snake might be behind those thefts because his outings rhyme with the timing of the crime. The commissioner called at that moment as Mr. Shark panicked and threw the phone away. They decided to get to the location to rescue Mr. Snake before the police got to him. They arrived at the location as the commissioner met with them, but Mr. Shark panicked again and struck her, causing her to pass out, so they placed her in the restroom with an apology note. They spotted Mr. Snake and pounced on him, but they were wrong as Mr. Snake wasn't behind the crimes, but had a girlfriend now, which made them laugh. The fight for the title had begun as the champion now had a new challenger. Mr. Wolf figured the new challenger must be the Phantom Bandit and plans to expose him in front of the crowd. The new challenger defeated the champion easily as the bad guys approached wanting a fight. He defeated the bad guys, but they wouldn't yield as they had a plan to reveal his mask. They managed to pin and reveal his mask, but it turned out she wasn't the Phantom Bandit. They looked up and figured the title wasn't there, but in Mr. Piranha waist. The crowd, thinking the bad guys were there for another heist, chased them as they all ran off. The commissioner, on regaining consciousness, spotted Mr. Piranha running away with the title and also chased after them, as she called all units stating that the bad guys were the Phantom Bandits. They were almost caught. That's when Susan, Snake girlfriend, showed up in a hot dog truck and they all got in. Susan drove like a pro and was able to evade the police. Mr. Wolf figured he had to inform the governor to see if she could assist them. The governor had just finished with the press when she got a call and went to her office. It was Mr. Wolf as he informed her of how they were being framed and gave her some clues about the metal so that she could do her investigation. Mr. Wolf had just ended the call when he got to the truck and found his buddies passed out. He figured Susan, Snake's girlfriend, was a member of the group as she fired a tranquilizer dart at him and he passed out. The bad guys woke up tied up as they were greeted by the presence of the Phantom Bandit, also called Kitty Cat, as she introduced the members of her group to them. She told the bad guys that they were planning something big and needed the expertise and assistance of the bad guys, but the bad guys refused, stating that they had turned a new leaf. Kitty Cat then showed them a video. It turns out Diane, the governor, had a criminal past, and they threatened to show the video to the world unless the bad guys agreed to work with them for one last job. So they had no choice but to agree. The bad guys were shown the rocket, the item they were going to steal. Meanwhile, Diane got to the cell and met with Guinea Pig. It appears Guinea Pig was aware of her past crimes, also that's part of the reason he is in prison. She asks him about the macguffin metal as he happened to know about it, but refuses to tell until she plays a game with him, so she has no choice but to play. The bad guys hatched a plan where Kitty Cat stated that to get access to the facility, they needed to obtain a watch from Mr. Moon, which he uses to access the facility, so they needed the expertise of the big bad wolf. They figured Mr. Moon was having a wedding and decided that was the right time to steal the watch. They got to the wedding as bad guys and bad girls got into positions as they took out guards and impersonated some guests. It turns out Mr. Moon uses an AI glasses to know who he was meant to talk to and who he was meant to avoid. So, Miss Tarantula was able to hack into it, as Mr. Moon spotted Mr. Wolf and realized he was a high-profile guest and decided to approach. Mr. Wolf was about stealing the watch when suddenly someone showed up. It was the high-profile individual the bad guys robbed in the past, and this made Mr. Wolf freeze as he lost the chance to steal the watch. Kitty Cat dragged him aside as she was extremely angry because he sabotaged the heist. He tried explaining, but she was enraged until he told her of a new plan to get the watch. Mr. Moonbride was walking down the aisle, but unbeknownst to him, it was the big bad wolf in disguise. Mr. Shark was also disguised as the priest. The high-profile individual from Egypt figured it was Mr. Wolf who robbed him in the past, and just as the shark was about to wed them, he rushed stating he objects. Mr. Wolf used the little bit of distraction to switch the watch and escaped from the scene as the individual opened the bridal veil and was shocked as it was the actual bride, and he was escorted out. The bad guys and girls rejoiced because the plan worked to perfection. Meanwhile, Diane was still playing the game, and after getting the clues she needed, she tried leaving when the guinea pig informed her that someone had visited him earlier to inquire about the medal. This scares her as she checked the footage and spotted the kitty cat, so she tracked her location and began heading there. Mr. Wolf spoke with Kitty Cat as he asked for Diane's video. Kitty Cat wondered why the bad guys would decide to abandon the life of crime and told him that they would never be accepted in society. She hands over the drive to Mr. Wolf, and he got into the car. It turns out they had secretly recorded Kitty Cat, which they will use to clear their name. They were about to leave, but as it turns out, the bad girls already knew of their plan. They were recaptured and chained up. Kitty Cat then revealed her plan. MacGuffinite was the strongest metal which they used to make the most powerful magnet, as they planned to get to space with the rocket and steal all the gold on Earth. Kitty Cat connected the drive to their chain, so it was either they stayed up and get arrested or come down and Diane video gets uploaded. The bad girls began making their way to the rocket site as they were granted access because of the watch they acquired. Meanwhile, the bad guys got out of the chains and removed the drive, but the video was still uploading, so they chained themselves back up again. Mr. Wolf then spotted a fire nearby and decided to throw the computer in it, but he missed his throw and the video got uploaded. The police had already arrived at the time, and they were arrested. Meanwhile, the bad girls were still on the site when they got ambushed by Diane. Diane was so skilled as she was able to take on the group. Unbeknownst to her, the video was now visible to the public. Kitty Cat told her to check her phone, and as she did, she realized that her secret was out as the girls figured she was distracted and fired a tranquilizer dart at her. The bad girls got into the rocket as Diane was also able to drag herself into the rocket. News broke out of the governor's crime and also about the bad guys' arrest. Mr. Wolf tried explaining to the commissioner that they were framed, but she refused to listen to any of that this time. The commissioner drove as she didn't take them to prison, but to the outskirts of the city and opened the back of the truck. It turns out she believed their story as Mr. Wolf told her they need to get to the rocket before it launches. It was too late as the rocket had already launched, so the commissioner was able to fly them close to the rocket with a helicopter, and they made their way to it. The part of the rocket they were on began detaching, so they had to struggle to get to the main rocket, opened the door, and managed to get in. The bad girls arrived in space as they attached the rocket to the International Space Station and got to work. The bad guys watched as the girls used the moon energy to power the MacGuffinite. Mr. Wolf stated he had a plan as they all wore a spacesuit. The MacGuffinite was activated and all the gold items on Earth began ascending. It was the heist of all heists as anything gold was being pulled up. The bad guys got to work as they tried to find a way to sabotage the MacGuffinite. During this process, Snake and Piranha got diverted by gold rushing up and they were about to run out of air. Susan noticed this and was about to shut down the MacGuffinite, but Kitty Cat chokes her and sends them out as she was filled with greed and increased the magnetic pull. The big bad wolf had caught up to her at that moment and confronted her. They got into a fight for the MacGuffinite remote control, which lasted for a while, but Kitty Cat was able to gain control of the device and destroy it. But that wasn't what Mr. Wolf was after as he used the distraction to steal the watch and controlled the rocket with it, crashing the rocket into the MacGuffinite. The MacGuffinite was destroyed and all the gold returned to Earth. Kitty Cat was enraged and was about to finish off Mr. Wolf when Diane came to his rescue and was able to take her out. Mr. Wolf hugs her and they kiss. That's when the group realizes that the rocket was crashing at a rapid pace. A funeral ceremony was held for the bad guys while the bad girls were arrested. It turns out the bad guys weren't dead as the commissioner faked their death and offered them a job as a secret agent. They accepted the job and were taken to their new base. The end. Thanks for watching, guys, and if you love animations and movies, please subscribe to this YouTube channel for more mind-blowing recaps like this. Thanks for watching and goodbye.